Welcome, everyone, and welcome back if you've tuned in before to Bali Insiders podcast in our very new home.
Yes, amazing. Now, as some of you may know, we have taken a little mini break, and there is a reason for that because we are now recording from our brand new home at Lighthouse Studios here in Kerabakan, Bali. Now, the podcast has taken quite a different turn. As you can now see, we are on video, which is very exciting, and we have our very own YouTube channel, which you can tune into.
Bali Insiders. You can go and like and subscribe now.
Exciting times. But when we first started the podcast, Bali was in a very different place. We were in very different places. Literally. I was in Melbourne. Karlie was in Bali. It was the pandemic. And our aim was to bring you up-to-date information on what was happening and as well as creating a connection back to the island for those of you that love Bali but couldn't actually get here. And, of course, bringing you some great interviews with people doing amazing things on our island home.
And, of course, back then, Emma's wedding planning business and my media business was, we were running at 50% or below or less. And now that Bali is back, so are our businesses. So we're back at 100%. And so Emma and I were having conversations around what's going to happen with the podcast. Is this something we're going to keep doing?
Yep.
Or is it something that now we go back to our pre-pandemic lives?
Yes.
And get busy. And but we'd had so many great conversations with all of you guys who are tuned into our socials about how much you were enjoying hearing from all of our guests and our tips.
Yes. And, of course, we love doing it.
And we love doing it. So it was like the universe kind of stepped in. During that same week that we were having this conversation, we were contacted by the team here at Lighthouse Studios. It's a brand new concept in Bali. I think maybe the first of its kind even in the world. And they were looking to partner with a podcast all about Bali, which is where they found us. And they reached out to us and asked if we would, like to become partners and if Lighthouse Studios could become the new home of Bali Insiders. And here we are. So Lighthouse Studios is what it sounds like. It is studios where you can record from, but it's so much more, isn't it, Em?
So much more. There are these beautiful studios. There are 3 studios. Right now we are recording from Studio 1, which is their biggest studio. There's a co-working space downstairs, which also has an incredible cafe.
Great coffee,
great food. Actually, coffee provided by Expat.
Oh, yes, who you might remember, Shay, who we interviewed earlier. On
one of our first episodes.
Yeah, I think it was like episode 3 or something. We had
go back
Shay
and listen to that one.
So we enjoy Shay's coffee downstairs. There's also great food. There's even cocktails.
Best spicy margarita on the island, apparently.
Yeah,
so I'll definitely be trying one of those later.
I think we'll need it after the pressure of having to be on video now recording. It's a very different experience, isn't it, Em?
Well, it certainly is. And for anyone that has been tuning in from the start, you know that we have had some very interesting recording experiences.
We literally knew nothing, still don't know that much about making podcasts.
No.
We knew we had stories to tell and messages that people would want to hear, but the actual mechanics of producing a podcast proved to be our nightmare. From things like dogs barking in the background or
the washing in the background, the laundry.
The funniest time though was when Em thought she had it all figured out and she's like, I've got this amazing space to record from. I'm going to borrow my friend's office. Yeah,
yep.
It's going to be super quiet. Em's got twins, so her house being quiet is
chaos.
Is hard.
It's chaos.
So she's like, I'm going to record from there. And so we get our little Zoom link or whatever we used to record on. I forget what that was.
Who knows now?
Who knows
look
now?
At us now.
Because now we have, everybody helping us. And we open it up and Em's like, also proud of herself, and I was like, where are you? You sound like you're in a cave.
And I was very disappointed to hear that it was the worst sound we've probably ever recorded with. And
the echoing in that place was crazy. And I was like, Em, we literally can't record here. But we had guests who were all lined up, ready to be interviewed.
So we came up with a solution. The solution being I climb underneath the concrete desk with live exposed wires while wrapping myself up in a towel to try and stop the echo.
So which it did stop enough for
Well, you guys can tell us because you would have heard.
If you listen, it was the episode with Lou from Kinship and
Jasper from Meraputty.
Yeah, if you go back and listen to those, just listen to it imagining Emma underneath a desk with wires all over her and a towel over her head. It was the most ridiculous setup. But honestly, the biggest nightmare for us has been the actual technicality
Tech
of
side.
Recording, downloading, editing. That's the part we knew nothing about. And yay for us.
Yay for you.
Yay for you. We actually have a producer now. Thanks, Raka, back behind the camera there. So Lighthouse Studios can do all of that for you. You can just use the studios to record, or you can record and have the Lighthouse team film for you, and they'll just give you the raw files and you can edit yourself. Or you can be super lazy like us and just turn up
and have a chat.
And then they will do the rest for you. So we have seen people coming in and out. We've been here a couple of times now. People coming out, filming online courses, creating their social media content, webinars. Like, it's so cool to see people coming in with all their different outfits on.
Yeah, it's super inspiring. Lots of people doing lots of different things. And we're just really lucky.
Really lucky and really happy. And it means that Em and I can spend more actual physical time together.
I know.
Which doesn't happen much now. She lives in Canggu and I live in Sonora, and the traffic
is
mental. So we get a good excuse to spend more time together, but also we become part of the Lighthouse Studios community, which is like, really, there are people downstairs working right now just doing all sorts of things from their laptop here in Bali. So we get, and they do have community events and socials. So we get to be part of that now. And it's definitely something, if you've been thinking of doing an online course for your business or webinars or producing your own podcasts, we really recommend you come in and check out this new space. Later on, we'll be interviewing the founder of this business, so you'll get to know more about the business now. But expect to see lots of different sets, because we're not just going to stick with the same set, are we, Em? We're going to mix it up.
We're even finishing each other's sentences now that we're actually recording together.
So in sync. Even today, we did not plan to wear the same colours.
No, look at us go.
We're just loving it.
We just needed to be in the same place at the same time.
We did. So, yeah, we're really excited about the video aspect. We're really excited to bring you more people to interview and to show you more of this space. So expect to see lots of different sets. We're going to show you throughout the episode how these studios can be set up, because they can look completely different.
Yes.
Every time.
Yeah. And I think you'll also see our set evolve over the different episodes. We're going to, as Karl said, show you different ways that it can be set up, but also we're going to introduce some new things,
special Bali Insider things to the set.
So stay tuned.
That's a really fun part.
That's so fun. Of course.
Bali Insiders podcast is proudly sponsored by Lighthouse Studios right here in Bali.
This space has been specifically designed for entrepreneurs, podcasters, coaches, and educators of all kinds. You can record podcasts just like ours, as well as masterclasses, social media content, and so much more.
They have awesome customizable studios to choose from. And most importantly, they take care of absolutely everything. The cameras, the microphones, the lights, even if you wish, the editing. They make it so easy.
And as well as the studios, they have a co-working cafe and some of the best food and coffee on the island of Bali. We highly recommend that you come in for a tour and have a chat about how you can create your own epic video and audio content.
You can visit them on Instagram at Lighthouse Studios Bali or jump on their website, wearelight.house.
So I think now we're also going to provide you with some Bali updates, which is what we're here for.
Definitely what we're here for. Now, there's been lots of misinformation and information through the media lately about Bali visas. I'm sure you've all heard or seen media articles saying, live tax-free in Bali. Bali introduces a digital nomad visa. Well, unfortunately, these articles are only like half truths. So while, yes, a digital nomad visa has been spoken about for a long time here in Bali, and it does seem like it's going to happen, it really hasn't happened at the moment.
Yes.
At all.
At all.
So what has happened is this. They're saying it's coming. Okay, so it's not here yet. So if you're thinking of coming here to be a digital nomad, don't think about the digital nomad visa at the moment. What has happened, I think you would have heard that the government finally clarified that you can be on the B211 visa, which lasts for six months. 6 months.
That's
what
right.
we
This is your
over.
forte. I am not the visa expert here.
I don't think anyone's a visa expert, but I get the question a lot and I write about it a lot. So I feel like I'm more across it probably than most.
Yes.
But the government did announce that you can be on that visa, that B211 visa that lasts for 6 months, and legally be allowed to work online. Now that's
a good clarification,
because that's been a grey area for a long time, right? And actually a reason why some people didn't want to be guests on our podcast, because they're like, well,
what are we doing?
We're here on a B211. Are we allowed to do that? So the government has said you are allowed to work online on those B211 visas. So if you do want to be a digital nomad, that is the visa you come in on right now. But there's a big rule, right? You cannot take money in Indonesia. So your income must come from outside this country. So you can't come here and just say you're a photographer and say, hey, I'll come and photograph your villa and you can take, you can pay me. You can't do that.
Yeah. So I think the key with a lot of these things is do your research. Make sure you're familiar with all of the rules and regulations around the visas. It can be such a grey area.
And you don't want to get yourself deported.
No. Who wants to be deported?
So if you're coming in on that one, work online, go for it, earn as much money as you can, but do not get paid from any businesses in Indonesia. You need your income coming from outside sources. It's not a work permit. You're not allowed to work here. You can work on your computer.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's somewhat of a safety net now that they've clarified that, because for a long time people were like, no, you can't work online. But then we're like, what if I'm on holidays and I answer an email?
Yeah.
I'm working.
Yeah, there's so much grey area, isn't there?
Yeah.
And now there's also the other whispering of the second home visa, which I, again, am not familiar with, but I am sure you are.
So the second home visa, it's actually more than a whisper now. That it's actually, there's the paperwork has come out for it. So it's happening. There's definitely going to be a second home visa. You'll be able to take it out for 5 or 10 years. And it's somewhat of a game changer, right? Up until now, there's not been an option for people who say they retired before 55. So there's been the retirement visa that you can get when you're 55. But there's some people who are retired earlier and they want to come and lucky things, and they want to come and live in Bali, and there's not been an option for them. So the idea of this second home visa is that those type of people will be able to access that. The thing that's probably worrying people and worrying a lot of retirees. Now, I live in Sanua, the renowned spot.
The home of retirees.
And Karlie.
And Karlie.
A lot of them are really worried because the retirement visa is going to cease to exist, and those people will need to move over to a second home visa.
Right.
And what the government is asking for as part of the requirement, if you are going to sponsor your own visa and not use an agent, is that you have a 2 billion IDR investment in a government bank here in Indonesia.
Wow.
So it can be I believe it can be invested and you can grow interest, but it can never go under that 2 billion.
Can't drop below 2 billion.
Yeah.
So that is, what was the equivalent?
Of 200,000 Australian dollars.
Okay.
So probably about, 150,000 USD or something like that.
So that's a lot to have sitting in an international bank account.
Especially for a retiree that, to not be able to draw on it because by that stage of your life, you're usually drawing on that money. So
yes.
There's a lot of retirees who are very anxious about it. Now, it's set to come in at the end of December, but like everything in Indonesia, it's still not 100% clear. So there's chatters that, well, if you don't have that 2 billion investment, you can use an agent to sponsor you, and I assume that they would have the investment.
The funds.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So I feel like there's going to be a solution for everyone. We've seen this happen so many times. It was like when you were trying to get back here post-COVID, or during COVID.
The amount of times that the rules would change or we would get a new update and then that would change again. We learnt not to panic, just wait it out and then see what happened. And it sometimes takes time for these things to iron out over here.
So I feel like that's what's going to happen with this second home visa. It's going to come in, it's going to be chaos, and then there'll be a solution.
Yes.
So if you're thinking of coming over on that one, you're better off just waiting. Wait till next year till it's in properly and everybody knows the different ways you can come in on it. But at the end of the day, it is exciting for Indonesia because this is a new option that previously wasn't available, and I think it opens up Indonesia as a place to live more easily to a lot more people.
Yeah, I think that's happened with COVID, hasn't it? There's been a lot of change in old policies and old visas to make it more accessible and a lot easier, particularly since we've done it.
Yes, so we've done it the hard way.
We certainly have done it the hard way.
But good news for all of you people trying to do it after us.
Absolutely.
But that's pretty much the update. It's an update but not an update because neither of them are technically in right now. It's seeming that the second home visa will come in before the digital nomad visa. Or if they're going to try and make them the same thing, that's not really clear yet either. But it will be coming. It's not here yet. But I think it shows a really good progression that visas are being spoken about, and travel post-pandemic seems to be that people want to stay here for longer.
Yes, yeah. But be sure to know that we will, of course, update you as things progress. We have, as I said, the visa queen here with
Not
us.
the queen, but I try. I have a lot of good contacts that I'm like, give me
go
the
to Karlie
actual
for
straight
all of my
news.
information. As soon as I'm like, Carls, what's going on here? What visa do I need? What's going on for Christmas? Where do I need to be?
Where can I buy a dress? But yeah, so that's the update. It's an update without being an update, but that is where we are at in Bali right now as far as visas go.
Yep. So that was a short and sweet episode for us today, our very first video recorded episode back. And in our new home, in our new studio here at Lighthouse.
So we're really looking forward to bringing you, we have like very cool guests line up.
Super cool.
Over
so
the next,
exciting.
We're not going to drop them all to you because, that's podcast strategy is you kind of like keep you hanging as far as we know.
Yeah. We might find out otherwise.
But we have a really cool lineup of guests coming up from There we've got photographers, we've got people who have built villas here and don't live here and rent them out for an income. We've got fashion designers, we've got
restaurateurs, we've got content creators.
We've got lots coming up.
We've been listening to what you've been saying and what you've wanted.
And our plan is to just showcase to you all of the different ways that people are living and working in Bali, or maybe just running a business in Bali and not even living here. And we'll have to figure out how we're doing that on video. Maybe we have them on a video behind us or something when we interview.
Yes.
We don't know how we're doing that yet. But that's Rucka's job to figure that out.
It's not our job anymore.
Not our job anymore. So, but we can tell you about our next guest coming up. And that is Shayla from Bali Interiors.
Yes. She's so super inspiring.
She's really built a business fully around her love of interiors and photography, and she's combined the two to make a really cool business here.
Yeah, well, multiple businesses really. She's got lots on the go, and she is coming in to share all of that with us.
She'll talk about her latest venture, which is her retreats that she's running, but she's also going to talk us through Shayla built an amazing home that just got completed last year, and I mean amazing. It's got rice field views, it's got a studio for her work, it's got a courtyard in the center of it, but it wasn't an easy road there. So she's going to talk us through the good, the bad, and the ugly of her build. So that's going to be she's going to be our first guest on video here.
Yes, very exciting. And I think definitely one that everyone will want to tune into, because it's one we get a lot of questions about, the interiors side of things and the building in Bali. So we're going to get right down to the nitty-gritty of how she did all of that
right
stuff.
Right down to that.
Yes. So as always, stay tuned to our socials, where we'll always have updates. Send through any questions, or if you've got anyone that you would like interviewed on the podcast, you think someone might be interesting, let us know. We'll do our best to get them on. And of course, please check out our shiny new YouTube channel.
We're very lonely with 0 subscribers. So please come over and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We can't wait to keep bringing you more content from here. We feel so happy in our new home here, and so happy that we don't have to edit.
Yes.
So happy about that. So we will see you for our next episode with Shayla from Bali Interiors, and we will talk to you then. Bye.